Our other big story today, the 42 people arrested at the border on Sunday will not face federal charges.
Team 10 investigator Adam Rakusin found out their arrest could allow them to jump to the front of the line if they're requesting asylum. Adam.
Yeah, Lindsay, Steve, instead of being stuck on the other side of the border trying to get to talk to someone to request asylum, it could allow them the opportunity to actually speak to someone on the United States side. What it would not do is move their cases ahead of others who have already requested asylum and are in that process. That's according to an immigration attorney that I spoke with. So there's two kind of different roads that someone in this position could take. A Customs and Border Protection official told 10 News those detained will face administrative removal. Think of that as an expedited removal. It basically means they don't go in front of a judge, there's no formal hearing, and could be removed or sent back to where they came from. There's the other side of that, that's what we were talking about. There's the scenario where the individual expresses what's known as a credible fear. An immigration attorney tells me they'd be referred for a hearing and a judge would then decide the next steps in that process. At the end of the day, they might get to stay based on their claim, or the judge would grant the removal order. Now, it sounds like a very simple kind of thing, but that's just a very quick overlook on a breakdown of the scenarios of either staying or going. Many different things can happen in between then, and each person has their own different case and own different set of circumstances. Also, while the process sounds quick, I'm told that it can take a very long time.
Just weeks after a contentious midterm election, Republican governors from all over the country are right here in the Valley for a conference.
Our political editor Dennis Welch was there. He spoke with our governor Doug Ducey, who says he's not happy about the troops at the border.
My name is Pete Ricketts. I'm the governor of Nebraska. And I've got Governor Ducey.
Republican Governor Doug Ducey at the Republican Governors Association's annual meeting in Scottsdale, where he appeared to blame his own party for the heavy military presence along the border.
No, I'd like to see Congress act and actually put together a program that has a result of border security.
But the GOP has controlled Congress for the past 8 years and the White House for the past 2 years. As for those investments, the Department of Homeland Security spends more than $28 billion a year on border security alone. The Trump administration sent more than 5,000 troops to the border last month. Their presence on display in Nogales with military hardware in the streets and razor wire along the border fence.
And I'd also call on Congress, once they secure that, to talk about fixing our broken immigration system.
And once again, I did get a chance to ask the governor about using tear gas to disperse some of those members of that migrant caravan over in Tijuana and near the California border last weekend. And once again, the governor, he wouldn't say if he thought it was an appropriate action. So.
I don't remember Governor Ducey talking too much about sending soldiers to the border during the campaign. Is he okay with the razor wire and things that they're doing?
This is what we asked him about. We talked to him about the military presence. We asked him if he was comfortable with these images that we were seeing, that we've been reporting on, when you see, military vehicles moving through the streets of Nogales. You see the razor wire on top of the border fencing down there. We asked him if he was okay with that, and he said, you heard him say, he said no. He said he wants to see Congress act, and he's blaming Congress for this. But however, as we pointed out in that story, is, Republicans have controlled Congress now for a number of years, and you have a Republican in the White House right now, too.
It seems like he doesn't like the optics of what we're seeing and the images that we're seeing now, but I do remember during the campaign when he was asked about military troops or Arizona troops being sent to the border, he was not opposed.
He is supportive of what he believes is military troops down there stopping, drug smuggling, human smuggling, these types of things. But I think these images, definitely with the military down there, again with the razor wire, not exactly thrilled with that right now.
Understandable. Dennis, thank you very much.
We have major new updates on the caravan tonight. Everything we've been warning you is unfortunately being proven true. Everything the media, people like Barack Obama, everything they were telling you, completely false. That's the subject of tonight's mini monologue. Still camped out in Tijuana, Mexico, following clashes with U.S. Border Patrol officers Sunday. Just today, DHS released more information on what are extremely dangerous conditions for many people. The high number of women who are assaulted during this journey. Griff Jenkins reporting that some migrants are actually self-deporting as they face diminishing prospects of entering the U.S. legally. And he's also uncovering that despite what the mainstream media has been telling you, the vast majority in the caravan happen to be men. And health officials there are reporting that 1/3 of the people traveling in the caravan are being treated for various health issues, including lice, skin infections, 3 confirmed cases of tuberculosis, 4 confirmed cases of chickenpox and more. And by the way, I think we should, on a humanitarian basis, help. But let me be clear. I've said many times, I want many people in the caravan, I know that they're searching for a better life, but storming the border, attacking Border Patrol, rocks, bottles, other projectiles, that's not seeking asylum. When do you so-called asylum seekers act like that? We're also learning tonight none of the migrants involved in the clashes will face any prosecution, despite the president's vow that lawlessness on the border will not be tolerated. Meanwhile, the threat of more violence is even prompting the Department of Justice now to send DEA agents and U.S. Marshal Service personnel to Southern California. And just last night, we learned that an admitted MS-13 gang member was recently arrested at the border crossing east of Tijuana. And he's been identified as a 29-year-old Honduran, telling authorities he was part of the caravan. Despite mounting evidence, the media is continuing to downplay the real threat, all while ignoring the failures of the Obama administration and what they did. Oh, they shot pepper spray and tear gas at people that tried to come into the country illegally. Nobody reported on it then. Joining us now, NRA TV contributor Dan Bongino, Fox News contributor, our friend Geraldo Rivera. Geraldo, you know, you got me so mad one night because I said to you, I told you this was coming. What do you want to do, Sean? You want to shoot? No, I don't. I have acknowledged to you how many times that I probably 99% want a better life, and I sympathize with that. I really do. My heart goes out. I want humanitarian health care. We can help them with TB and chicken. We need to do it. But the problem is laws, sovereignty, borders. That's what matters, and the identified criminals that have infiltrated the caravan.
Hello, Dan. I love you, my brother Sean. I stand shoulder to shoulder with both of you when it comes to exposing the Russia collusion illusion. But I think the harsh treatment of those migrants at the border with the pepper spray and all the rest of it, the militarization
Obama,
of the southern border, that doesn't make it right, Sean. That doesn't make it right. And
how do you stop people that are charging your borders? How would you do it?
Of the 42 arrested, 8 were women with children, Sean. Those scenes are etched in our national psyche now, like the separation of the children from their parents 2 months ago.
Where were all your liberal friends in the Obama years? He did
Sean, if indeed these sins were committed during the Obama administration, that doesn't make the sins being committed now right.
Okay,
we have a collective recollection.
But Dan Bongino, it's not just 42 people.
We can't treat these people like
there were hundreds of people.
One MS-13 member.
So what do we do
when they charge? One MS-13 member among 7,000 or 10,000?
Geraldo, Dan, what about our Border Patrol guys? Rocks, bottles, projectiles, tear gas isn't going to kill you. And I think parents have a responsibility to pull their kids away from that situation. That's their responsibility, too.
Yeah, you know, Geraldo, again, I appreciate your nice comments. I consider you a friend, too, but you are way, way off base on this. I've stood at roll calls. I was a law enforcement officer. I'm not looking for anybody's pat on the back. Your tax dollars paid for it. It was a great job. But I ask you the same question Sean asked you. You're given a lot of platitudes. Nobody wants to see anybody tear gas. You win. Point stipulated. We both are empathetic to that. But that was not the choice of the Border Patrol officials. The choice was made by people who stormed the border illegally. And I ask you a very simple question, and I would sincerely appreciate an honest answer. You're standing in the face of these Border Patrol agents, patrolling our border, just doing their jobs to keep our nation secure. What do you tell them to do when a rock comes at their face? What? What's your answer? Nobody produces an answer. They just produce platitudes. What do you do?
This is what you do. This is what you do not do, Dan. You do not shoot tear gas
I didn't ask
at
you
women
what you
with
don't
small
do.
children.
I asked
you do not
what
do that.
you do.
And you and Sean are both the grandsons or the great-grandsons of immigrants, Italian immigrants, Irish immigrants. They were slandered just like you were slandering these people with these.
My wife Paula's an immigrant.
They have diseases. They're bringing disease. Read the newspapers from the middle of the 19th century. The Irish were bringing diseases. The Italians were bringing diseases.
The question.
This is a slander.
Why won't you answer the question, Geraldo?
These are innocent people seeking a better life. What you don't do is you don't put 6,000 GIs with fixed bayonets at the border.
What do you do when they're throwing rocks and bottles at our agents?
All right, here's what you do. You send Spanish-speaking ambassadors to the crowd. You explain to them that they are not going to be able to rush the border. You explain to them the facts of life. You explain to them the reality of what's happening.
There's hundreds of them charging at them.
This is a stain.
Right,
this is a stain on the Trump presidency
Geraldo,
that it would be very difficult to
hundreds
eradicate.
charging the border and charging at police. What if it's thousands? What do you do then? That's an important question you need to answer.
Are you going to believe those words? Are you going to believe your own lying eyes when you look at the video and you see the composition of this crowd? This is a benign, suffering civilian crowd.
Rocks,
you can
there we go. There's
cherry-pick
the rocks being thrown.
The three scenes of the rocks being thrown. What about the scenes of them living in squalor and in the athletic fields?
Do it legally,
where they're
Geraldo.
left, and they're begging for food and overflowing toilets and the most inhumane conditions.
Why not claim asylum?
Where is
throw a rock
USA?
in the face of a border patrol agent?
That rock ripped in the tidal wave.
You're suggesting
you do it with humanity, Dan. You do it with humanity and compassion. Humanity and compassion.
Geraldo, I got to leave. Let me just say this: if we had the wall, nobody would get hurt on either side, and we'd have the door.
Let's build it. Let's build it.
We end on an agreement.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly, and this is the Talking Points Memo. It drives me crazy watching TV news. I don't learn much anymore. This morning, I was watching about 9:10 Eastern Time, and there was a reporter standing in front of a massive tent city, okay? It was 6:10 out there, so most of the people were still asleep. So the reporter was going, well, here's the tents, and there's a sleeping bag, and there's the water bottles, and I'm going, I see that. Tell me some information. How many people are there? Who paid for the tents? Who paid for the food? Who paid for the water? Who paid for the buses that took 6,000 people from Mexico City to Tijuana? Nothing. Zero. Okay? Driving me crazy. On the analysis programs, you always have the same argument. Oh, the United States is bad. Tear gassing young women. Oh, we're terrible. Okay, so how would you, Miss Left-Wing Zealot, solve the problem? You don't get anything. You don't get anything. Well, you know, we have to be humane. Never do you get a solution. So I was very interested to see my pal Geraldo Rivera, who is a migrant advocate. And if you Google O'Reilly Rivera immigration, you'll see one of the most intense shootouts of all time on cable news a few years back. Geraldo's a sincere guy. All right, and here's what he said about this latest migrant thing. Quote, both political parties have decided to leave border crisis unsolved. True. They must get off their butts and do something. True, that's two for Geraldo. Build a wall. Geraldo wants the wall. 3 for Geraldo. Give amnesty to dreamers. Come back to that. All right. Restart a Bracero-type temporary worker program. Invest in neighboring nations to improve conditions and keep their people home. Okay, Bracero was under President Eisenhower in the 50s. It was a lot easier to come here to work back then because there weren't the volume of people that want to come here now. Couldn't do it now. On the dreamers, okay, I'm willing to discuss amnesty for dreamers who were taken here as little children and establish themselves. They have to give something back to the country. It can't just be giving them stuff. They have to give something back. So if it's quid pro quo, I'm okay. The last one's just insane. Just insane. We're supposed to be able to regulate poverty in Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua. We send the money. It doesn't do any good. I fund a charity called the Haitian Health Foundation. It is run by Americans, and they rebuild the mouths of children in Haiti because their teeth fall out from malnutrition and everything else. Okay. Over the years, I've given a lot of money. I've gone to the clinic. It is a beautiful charity. I wanted to go around Christmas time. Can't. You know why I can't? Because when you land at Port-au-Prince, and you get in an automobile, and you go to the clinic, which is about 15 miles outside of the capital, armed men will stop your vehicle and take all your stuff and maybe hurt you. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been donated by Americans to Haiti, a very small country. The poverty there now is worse than it's ever been. There's no law enforcement. There's no one in charge. It is a collapsing country. We've donated hundreds of millions of dollars. Bill Clinton, Sean Penn, George Clooney, you name it. Done nothing. Nothing. You cannot regulate behavior in foreign countries. And when you hear that on the news program, oh, we have to do Honduras, it is a pipe dream. That's a cliche that comes from people smoking opium in a pipe. That is BS, it's garbage. The truth is, there's only one solution to the migrant caravan. What the United States is doing right now. They can't come in because our system is overloaded now. The Associated Press reporting between 3 and 4 years to get an asylum case ruled upon. In the meantime, we're going to let tens of thousands of people in here, because if you let the 7,000 down in there now, you don't think there's going to be 70,000 on their heels? There will be. So this is being handled responsibly by America. The media will show you pictures of babies being tear gassed. That's all the media wants to do. But I'll tell you what, if our borders are not enforced, if our immigration law isn't updated in a fair, tough way, that this country is going to suffer immeasurably. This is the issue of our time. You don't believe me? Go over to Austria. Go over to Germany. Go to Sweden. They've been overrun by migrants seeking asylum. Check it out. Go to London. That's the Talking Points memo. I'm Bill O'Reilly for Newsmax.